that's where we're...
I think we talked about that at one time, didn't we, having the cement pillars or whatever. But the cement pillars, the cost of those would need to be in line probably, well, it wouldn't need to be in line because they probably last longer than wood, but it'd have to be somewhat comparable. I guess the cost right now that we have from Riser probably doesn't distinguish what parts bleachers and what parts wood go. But he says he's willing to work with any local contractor, so I guess the question is how much would he deduct if we put them in concrete and that was approved?
So I understand maybe that Earl would be doing the concrete part of it. And this guy would be doing the rest of it, which would be the, we don't need the wood part anymore, but it'll be bringing the bleachers up to code.
Well, or new bleachers, one or the other.
Yeah.
New bleachers, one or the other. But I guess, according to this, he's saying that whoever the local person is, they have to work under his direction because he's a certified installer. Which the code says we have to have a certified installer or an engineer or whatever.
But I think cost-wise, I think we'll be very, very competitive down that road, and I think he'll be there forever. And I thought, wow, what a deal.
But he's saying that would cost, what did he say, 16 or 18,000?
No, he said, first of all, he said under 30, and he said basically we're talking under 27, 26, 25, depending on, you know, what the Booster Club would assist with, and it could be less.
What's he saying costs less than 27?
The whole thing.
All the concrete.
All concrete.
But that ain't to do with fixing the bleachers, though.
No, no. And the interesting thing about that is that, you know, he has to drill 75 or 80 holes and all that concrete in there, and he went down quite an elaborate thing as to how it was going to be done, and putting the pad, and putting the posts.
Well, if we're going to go that route, you'd have to have that cement cost before you, then you'd have to have the bleacher repair cost.
Yeah, and that's basically why I said that when we were talking about number 4.
And I'll bet you can't repair the bleachers for $10,000. So I mean, they're in bad shape. They're in bad shape.
Well,
and I know they've been done this spring. If the spring would have been decent, but
that's something we should find out about what bring them up to. And I think a lot of people in the community would like it that way. You know, what replaced.
oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be intention to fix them one way or another.
What's our name? It'll be cheaper than number 1, $65.
But I'll bet it's not much cheaper than number 2. I mean, we have to, yeah, you'd have to find out. And you have to make sure our insurance is going to insure it.
Well, I think that he probably used the right word in option number 3 when he talks about the present bleachers, trying to bring them up to code, because probably by the time they do get those current ones brought up to code, which appears according to those diagrams almost everything, then they probably would be cannibalized when we got done. I mean, there's a lot of work to do there. But, you know, if we want to go back to this guy and say, hey, tell us what the base part of it, separate from the buying number 2, say we want to go with number 2. Okay, tell us what it's going to cost to buy the bleachers, what it's going to cost for the base, separate the two amounts, so then if we have a local contractor who may want to work with the guy, then we may be able to go that route. But I guess my next question is when are we trying to get all this done by?
I think we got to get it
Well,
sooner than later.
He wants to do it this fall. He wants to do it, I know, September, October. That's the drill.
You must be looking for work then.
No. He said he would do it.
Well, I think if we got some questions from him, we got some questions from Earl, we got to find those answers out, number 1. And also, if it's going to go through, if it's going to pass both of them, well, our insurance company's going to write off. Because that's the bottom line, right there.
Does it say in there that you have to have an engineer?
does the code. Certified installer or an engineer.
Or somebody else.
Or.
Or.
I guess that's my question.
I think it said or.
Because it just applies to the engineer.
A licensed professional engineer, registered architect, or company that's qualified to provide bleacher products and services. Inspect and provide written certification. So much it can do is provide written certification, is what it says.
I don't know what the board's feeling is, but is there some way we can get some costs fast? Maybe meet for
I think we need
a
to
little
get a
while.
while on it because.
Well, that's what I mean,
It's the
maybe.
track season because it was supposed to be done last spring because of the weather and, you know, we don't know what the spring, I'd like to see it done by fall.
We can meet after we meet on the 7th.
Well, I think
But
we'd
then you gotta
have
have all
to
the
meet
numbers
here.
together.
We'd have to meet here though, right? Or we can't have a board meeting with our agenda in Lake Buchanan, right?
It'd probably be better to meet here, but
And then we meet here first at all of the.
Well, we could do that.
we've got to add on.
Unless we met at 5:30 and we went to ad hoc or quarter after 5 or whatever. We went to ad hoc.
Can you get those numbers, or can we get those numbers?
I don't know if they cut under so 5 days, I'm sure of it. Because he already is on top. So it's just a matter of
Well, who's going to follow up with Earl?
I'll be glad to work any way you can.
The parts of this that I need to take care of is I need to call this Trivac and ask him, I'm trying to make sure I know what I'm asking. Under option 4, I'm asking him, what's the cost to just bring the bleachers up to code? Is that right?
So that they're, set them on top and.
And he will work with someone in the community
He said that.
that wants to build the base. But I think that would be for any of these, you know, even on number 2, you know, if we have a local contractor work with him to build the base, what's it going to cost them to put the new structure on top of
I
it?
also think I better be calling the consulting engineer from EMC, this where he lead out, because somehow he's got to hear about this plan for this understructure to make sure that if he's got questions, he's talking to Earl about, well, what about X, or how are you going to do X, because that will determine the piece related to certifying it too.
Well, this is a two-part puzzle. I mean, you gotta have the base structure and cost, and you gotta have the bleacher structure and cost.
Yep.
And, yeah, so whatever avenue.
I'd like to know what the slab's going to cost to above and beyond the bleachers.
You know, what would it cost instead of having 10 rows, if we put it on a slab and had 13 or 14 rows?
And we don't build it up.
Yeah.
We don't.
I mean, we'd still be as high on the top end, but just wouldn't be as high on the bottom end. Follow me?
Yeah, make higher bleachers.
Just set it on a slab. Because even if we elevate them, we're still going to have to put 4 feet of something in front of these first 3 or 4 rows of bleachers, and those people in those first 3 or 4 rows aren't going to be able to see much anyway, because they have to be 4 inches apart. And you put slats in there and you only have 4-inch gaps, you aren't going to be able to see a
Well,
whole lot.
I think there'll be horizontal slabs, which would make the whole,
I don't think so. It says I don't think,
does it say vertical?
I think they have to be vertical.
The other thing it can be is chain link fence, because we talked about that when Dave and I were out there, about what can be around the front. In fact, he said chain link fence around the whole thing would probably make more sense.
Yeah.
And it's a little less expensive than aluminum.
But is it worth asking, you know, what would it cost for, what would it cost for 13 rows of bleachers and no base? Well, what would it cost for 15 as opposed to 10 and we not put a base in?